there. So we had that conversation last year. The season comes. Benito gets 10 sacks. Cooper gets 10 sacks, which is ironic, and I didn't think about this till today, is that the last time the Broncos did have double-digit sack guys, there was two of them, and now it hadn't happened in years, and there's two of them again. Sutton checked off the box for 1,000 yards. We had the conversation on Friday at the Glen Bar and Grill. How fun was that on Friday?
It was great, man. It was great just being around the fans, and the listeners were great.
So cool. So much love. Shout out. So we had the conversation about the two things that had happened and what is more repeatable. If you missed that conversation, you can hit up the Drive podcast, denversports.com, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Today, it's what about the two things that didn't happen last year and what's more likely to take place in 2025? A 4,000-yard passer for the first time since Peyton Manning in 2014, or the 1,000-yard rusher for the first time since you did it in 2019? Which is more likely to happen this season?
Listen, as much as I want somebody to finally go for 1,000 yards with the Denver Broncos in that backfield.
Do you really want that to happen?
I do. It's time, Zach. And you have a running back for sure in JK Dobbins that can do it. He's a bell cow running back that breaks tackles. He's explosive. And he almost went for 1,000 yards last year, and he missed 4 games.
Right.
And then you have an unknown in RJ Harvey, but you have to trust Sean and George in their evaluation when it comes to drafting a running back, because they drafted someone like Alvin Kamara, who's been great for the league. And he hasn't got to 1,000 yards, but that's not because he can't. It's because he's doing so much other than just running the ball. He's catching out of the backfield as well. So I fear, as much as I want another 1,000-yard rusher this year, I fear that there's not going to be, because both JK Dobbins and RJ Harvey will split time.
Okay.
That's going to be a fact. You don't draft a running back in the second round and just have him sitting there for mop-up duty.
Right.
He's going to be involved. But on top of that, hopefully JK Dobbins can stay healthy. If JK Dobbins can stay healthy, he'll have an opportunity. I also fear that Sean will get in the way of that, because Sean's all about being creative for the quarterback and making sure that the quarterback is situated. In this case, Bo Nix is his baby. And as much as Sean said, run the damn ball on his play calling sheet, he did not run the ball.
No.
And I know he didn't trust the running backs, but if he has an opportunity to pass the ball or run the ball just to do it, he's going to pass the ball because he has more options now. He has a tight end. All right, Cortland Sutton's coming back. Vele is another guy that's taking another step. Marvin Mims got more involved in Week 10, and he's going to be involved early this year. So in Sean's head, it's like, I have more options for Bo. On top of that, I just drafted a young kid named RJ Harvey, who I have a vision for, which is not just running the ball in between the tackles, but catching the ball out of the backfield. So I believe that Bo Nix will have a better chance to get to the 4,000 yards passing than a running back going for 1,000 yards, just because of how Sean is and how this offensive line and how Bo has been made up. And Bo's made up to say, hey, I'm going to be the main guy in charge. I'm going to throw the ball as much as I can, and when there's an opportunity to run the ball, we'll run. You disagree?
No, I don't think I do. I just think that well, I'll say this. And people may not like this. I don't know if any of these two things are going to happen this year.
No.
I don't know. I would bet it's more likely that they both don't happen than they both do happen.
And it's not a bad thing.
No,
the reason why
no.
you're going to explain.
No, yeah.
Okay.
I think that it actually could be healthy from a 20,000-foot view of the offense. And for a lot of the reasons that you said, like you're citing, like even someone with the talent of like Alvin Kamara never went for 1,000 yards rushing in Sean's system.
980, 950, but he's also catching the ball in the backfield and getting 500, 600 yards receiving in some of the years. So he's just placed all over the place, which is honestly, it's better than just getting the ball handed to you 300 times a year.
Yeah. Reggie Bush was a high draft pick for New Orleans, was he not?
He was. First round. I want to say second overall.
Yeah, something like that.
Second overall, yeah.
Something like that. He, too, had gone over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, but never ran for 1,000 yards in Sean's system. The other guy, and I'm going to look this up here in real time, Mark Ingram, I do believe ran for
He did
1,000 yards,
I
right?
say at least one time in the middle of his career, or maybe almost at the end of his career with the Saints.
Yes, you're on it. In his third, fourth, it was his sixth season. He was 27 years old. Another first-round running back who didn't go for 1,000 yards until he was 6 years into his career. Now, he did it in a couple seasons in a row in 2016 and 2017 with the Saints. He also ran for 1,000 yards in Baltimore one time as well. But it's not like when you look at Sean's history, there's like some long list of like 1,000-yard running backs, like Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan's the opposite of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody that was in Mike Shanahan's system as a running back, you were going for 1,000 yards.
Correct.
Like, that was a guarantee when you signed pen to paper to be with the Denver Broncos. It didn't matter who you were. You were going to go for 1,000 yards. It's a little bit different when it comes to Sean Payton. One, Sean Payton wants to get everybody involved, which is smart to keep people healthy. And Sean likes to throw the ball.
He does. The guy played quarterback. The guy sees the game through a quarterback's eyes. But yet and still, when it comes to Bo Nix throwing for 4,000 yards, he certainly can, and I ultimately agree with you. I do think it's more likely that the streak that no 4,000-yard passer since 2014 gets broken with a greater likelihood than a 1,000-yard running back for the dynamics that you sort of laid out. And Sean has actually said into a microphone, hey, Bill Parcells taught me, you stack that position. You stack him. He's not a bell cow guy. So you have these two guys that Sean really likes, and JK Dobbins and RJ Harvey. Maybe Dobbins gets to 850, Harvey's 700, whatever. But still, even with Bo going for 4,000 yards, I'd say it's more unlikely than likely, even despite his rookie year going for what he threw
37,
75. Yeah.
29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. But why? Why do you feel that way? Like, don't you think that Bo's going to take that next step? Don't you believe that we've gotten better offensively with adding Evan Engram,
totally,
adding JK Dobbins, but RJ Harvey was drafted to kind of be the guy that's that utility back, if you want to call it, that's catching out of the backfield.
Yeah. I think that I don't know when we look up at the end of the season if Bo is going to be sixth in passing attempts like he was his rookie year, which is still wild. He was sixth.
Yeah.
Attempted the sixth most
as
passes
in
the entire league as a rookie. But I do think that Sean, understands how important it is to run the freaking football. And if your run game is as vastly improved as we think it is, this should just be a simply more balanced approach. And for the same reason that on Friday I said it might be healthier if Courtland Sutton is not a 1,000-yard wide receiver. It might be more healthy if Bo Nix is not a 4,000-yard passer and the offense is just more multiple.
Now, although I said that I think that Bo will get the 4,000 yards before a running back goes for 1,000, JK Dobbins, RJ Harvey, even if you want to shoehorn Jaleel McLaughlin in there.
Sure.
Whoever. If you want to win 11, 12 games, you probably need a running back to go over 1,000 yards. And here's why. Because you're controlling the game.
Yes, Phil.
The identity of the team is we're going to punch you in the mouth.
Yes.
We're going to move the chains. We have a physical nature to us, and you can't stop us. And that's what you want. I will never forget where it was our second year, and we're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you have Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Did you remember that game where he ran all over us?
Yes, and I forget who was missing that day defensively, but it was glaring.
Yeah,
he went crazy.
And it was demoralizing just sitting there watching the Jacksonville Jaguars run it down our throat, and you can't do anything about it. And then when we got on the football field, we would go 3 and out.
Right.
Put our defense right back on the football field.
So deflating.
That's why you want to have that run game. You want to be the one punching somebody in the mouth and having a team look at you like, we can't do anything about it, but just take it. And now when the offense gets back out there, they're not in rhythm. And if your defense is good enough, like the Denver Broncos, you go 3 and out, you put your offense right back on the football field, and you run it again. It just opens the doors for so many more opportunities for the receivers and the quarterback and, of course, the running back. So if we're going to win 11, 12 games, we're going to have to run the damn ball.
Do you think, and we're going to bring in Will Peterson here in just a second, but before we do, is one of those two stats, the 1,000-yard rusher or the 4,000-yard passer, a little bit overrated in your opinion? Is one of those two labels a little bit overrated, maybe even both of them?
I guess in both cases, it's how it looks. When Peyton Manning went for 4,000 yards, he was scoring touchdowns. Everybody was getting involved, and they put a lot of points up on the board. When you're going for 1,000 yards rushing, how does it look? Does it take you 30 carries to get to 100 yards, 70 yards in a game? Or is it like you're taking 14 carries and you're making it into 120 yards rushing?
Sure.
And you look up and you have 190 attempts, but you go for over 1,000 yards. So less is more in that aspect where it's like you want less carries, more yards. And then it's like, okay, like that makes sense. When you have someone like JK Dobbins, if he can average 5 yards a carry, that's great. And that means that you're probably going to get to 1,000 yards in a 17-game season.
What if I told you, in terms of if one of these stats is overrated, that Geno Smith threw for almost 600 yards more than Josh Allen last year? Right? But no one would say Geno Smith is better than Josh Allen. And in fact, the 4,000-yard passer, not a lot of them. Guess how many 4,000-yard passers there were in the NFL last year?
I would say like 4.
6.
Okay.
So close. Pat Mahomes did not throw for 4,000 yards. Justin Herbert did not throw for 4,000 yards. Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, C.J. Stroud, all not 4,000-yard guys. And I think that if you asked an average NFL fan, they would not be able to guess that in sort of like a trivia-style question. Friend of the show sliding in here, it's the scrappy one, the scrapster, Scrap Peterson. What up, Will?
What up, boys?
What do you think is more likely to happen this year for the Broncos that hasn't happened in a really long time? This conversation started a year ago. We're back to check up on the two things that did not happen this past season, the way that a double-digit sack artist did and a 1,000-yard receiver did. Broncos haven't had a 4,000-yard passer since Peyton Manning in 2014, over a decade without one of those, and haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher in over a half-decade since my co-host did it across the table. What's more likely to take place this season?
Oh, I think it's 4,000 yards passing. It's not even close. Because JK Dobbins and RJ Harvey are just going to cannibalize each other. Like if they both go 600, 700 yards, that'll be a successful season, right? But they're both going to get a lot of touches. So much so, in fact, I'm not sure another running back touches the ball in week 1 against the Titans. I think when you look up at the box score the next day, it's going to be 12 carries for Harvey and 14 for Dobbins, something like that. He's not going to do the whole, we got to look at the number thing like we had to do last year because it was a different guy touching it. That said, I truly think they're going to split the carries. So both guys are going to finish 600, 700. One of them may get to 800 yards, which, again, if you do the math on that, if they rush for a combined 1,500, great, good season. But he can't help himself. He loves throwing the football. He's obsessed with Bo Nix. He loves Bo Nix. I actually would be surprised if Bo Nix doesn't throw for 4,000 yards.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't know about that, and I would disagree because I think that, yes, Sean loves to throw the football. Yes, he sees the game through the eyes of a quarterback, but he does have the understanding that the winning teams, right, they run the ball effectively. And what a reminder of that in Buffalo, the 31-7. Well, I can't call it blowout loss around Will. He still does. He still. No, let me check it a couple months later. Was it a blowout, Will?
I mean, it was a 13-7 game with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, and the Bills scored a miracle touchdown on 4th down that they had to review.
This guy.
It was a blowout, man.
This guy. So 31-7, non-blowout.
It was a blowout by the end,
all right,
but you got to tell the story of how they got there.
All right.
If there's not a miracle catch in the back of the end zone, Bo may have taken him down and taken a 14-13.
Oh, come on.
All right. That aside, I don't believe that. I think it's more likely that Bo Nix will fall short of a 4,000 yards. Guess where his prop has been set by DraftKings?
37.
I'm gonna go lower than that. I'm gonna say 35.
You looked at the rundown, Phil.
No, I didn't.
So you did look at the rundown.
I looked at the rundown, but I didn't see that.
Which is it? Which is it?
I didn't see the prop one.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yes. Phil is right.
Let's go.
Bo Nix has Phil was only off by 75 total yards. An absolute miracle. Bo Nix' season passing total has been set by DraftKings at 3,425 yards.
Oh, it's 3,400.
Which is, hundreds of yards less than he threw as a rookie. I think it actually sort of lines up with what
Well, it makes sense. You added JK Dobbins. You drafted RJ Harvey. You're going to run the ball. You have an offensive line to do it. So I'd rather Bo be under center, take the reverse step, and hand the ball off and look good doing it than just taking 44 attempts in every single game. Like, that's not going to help you out.
You can't just say they're going to run the ball. We have no evidence of Sean Payton as the head coach of the Broncos. He wrote it on his play sheet and still couldn't do it.
But we also have to acknowledge, and I know that, well, I hope you do, that
I don't think he does.
The room was so lackluster. I believe Sean Payton just leaned into what he believed gave them a better opportunity to have success. And when you have your top 3 running backs who fail to even have a 23-yard carry on the whole season, he's just like, yeah, you want to know what? Yeah, I know fundamentally and philosophically we need to run the football. But gosh, these guys are just not getting it done. And he leaned into what was more successful.
I'll believe it when I see it. You guys got a heck of a lot of faith that this is just going to be a new look Denver Broncos in 2025.
So you don't think they're going to – you think like the rushing attempts will be similar?
Yeah, like I said, I think both those guys will go for like 700 yards and Bo will throw for 4,100.
4,100.
That's how – I mean, Zach asked me 4,000.
Look, I can see 3,700 yards, maybe 38. But if he's going to go for 4,100 yards, that means that someone like Marvin Mims is going to have to take a screen and take it 75 yards. So there's going to be a lot more explosive plays in order to get past 3,900 yards.
Well, we saw 3 of those from Mims last year, including a 94-yard touchdown against the Browns. He's clearly capable of it. Wow.
Well, for sure
now we're
capable
nitpicking.
of it.
Now
He's
we're
capable of it.
nitpicking.
Well, he is capable of
No,
it.
for sure. I just say, is it the smartest thing to do is throw the ball 40 times in a game? It's not smart. It slows the game down, and you want to be able to chew clock. You want to be able to move the chains and have an identity. This year, the Denver Broncos have to have an identity, and it needs to be running the ball. It can't be air raid. We're going to do 7-on-7. That never works when you get to the playoffs, Will.
They got a top 10 QB in the NFL. I'm fine with them passing it all around the yard all day, every day.
Well, we'll see. They've put real resources into the running back position. You know, firstly by way of a second-round draft pick. That is a real commodity. And then circling back and paying Dobbins. And I know he didn't break the bank, but I know they're taking him seriously. A couple of stats on Dobbins here in just a minute. So I told you Bo Nix passing total has been set by DraftKings at 3,425. Okay. What do you think RJ Harvey's season rushing total has been set at? Will Peterson only.
I knew you were going to say it.
699.
Come on. Where's your rundown?
Every time someone gets it right or close to it, they're cheating.
That was an honest-to-goodness guess, Zach.
No joke. And you are a degenerate gambler, but I believe you. This time around, RJ Harvey's season rushing total has been set at 700 and a hook. So,
whoa.
Yeah, so you were literally a yard off. If he goes for 701 yards, the over hits. If he's at exactly 700, the under hits. What are you guys more confident in going over? Bo Nix over his 34-25 or RJ Harvey's rushing total set at 700 and a hook?
Oh, Bo going over 3,400 yards.
Yeah, I think so.
That's an easy one. Sean is going to throw the ball. Bo Nix has more weapons. He has a tight end. RJ Harvey's going to be coming out of the backfield more than people think. And you have JK Dobbins that's going to be the bell cow running back to start the year off. Now, if RJ Harvey starts to get in rhythm, he'll get more touches and he'll get more respect that way. But until then, they're going to hand the ball off to JK Dobbins, and they're going to rely on Bo Nix arm.
Scrap that question because I know we're all going to say Bo, right? What do we make about Harvey's total of 700?
Seems high. They're going to feed Dobbins a lot. I'm with Phil. Dobbins is the proven guy. And in fact, guys, RJ Harvey may have another 300 yards receiving, but that doesn't count for the 700 there. They're going to throw a lot of dump-offs to him out of the backfield, right? Think about the touchdown he scored against the Buffs. How did that play line up, right? Just a little
relax, Will.
Little screen pass out of the backfield.
Yeah, a little wheel route, yeah.
And he goes 70 yards to the house.
75.
Remember who he was burning, too?
Travis Hunter.
Remember who was trying to catch him?
Travis Hunter.
Go back and watch the film. Don't disrespect now. Travis Hunter was on the other side of the field, man.
Well,
I'm hyping up RJ Harvey.
He basically beat him in a foot race to the pylon.
He came,
I'm just hyping up our guy. Travis plays in Jacksonville. I wish him the best, but I'm hyping up the Broncos player.
I'm just saying.
We'll act like they lined it up on the same, 1, 2, 3, go. No, but he did beat him in a foot race to the pylon, to Will's point.
He has some speed. RJ Harvey, that is.
He does. Do you have a total for Dobbins, by the way, Zach?
No, there is not one.
Interesting.
Yeah, and honestly, with his injury history, I wouldn't post one either. Because you just take the under blind and just bet on,
I would say JK's going for 875, and someone like RJ Harvey will go for 640.
Okay.
That'd be a great year.
It will be a great year.
That'd be
You're
a great
right,
year.
You're right. Well, that means they're running the ball.
A great year for Harvey?
For the running back room.
For the core.
Okay.
As a
Because for
group.
Harvey, if you're talking about, what'd you say, 650?
Yes.
I mean, he's averaging 30-something yards a game as a new toy.
But when you're thinking about it, it's like, hey, you're getting some yards running the ball, but you're going to be coming out of the backfield. Let's just say he's getting 30 yards, 25, 30, 35 yards, catching some screens, and he's explosive, getting a couple touchdowns that way. That's what you're looking for. It's just to be productive on the football field.
Sure. No, you're right. You're right. I told you I'd give you some Dobbins stats. We should save them for tomorrow, but I don't want to.